Hi, it's Tim from Adhesive. Today I'm going to be showing you how I made this in about 30 minutes and how you can as well. This part is Bamboo Labs White PA6GF or nylon with glass fibre. It's about 200 by 30 by 5mm in dimensions and it has had dye permanently sublimated onto it. I was inspired by videos of other creators that have shown processes using PETG and PLA. I've experimented with these parts over the past few weeks, and although these plastics show promise, they're not heat resistant enough to ensure a proper lasting transfer. I found that with using the printer bed, the ink would never transfer fully and often rub or wash off directly, and using a press with these plastics leads to them melting before a proper transfer. I should definitely mention that I'm far from an expert in the field of sublimation. I've only been doing it for a week and it's basically a whole hobby unto itself, so I'm likely to make some terminology errors or other mistakes in this video. One of the things you might be wondering is how resilient this is. Before we dive into the detail, let's have a quick look at the resilience of the final part. Here I have some water and here's some isopropanol, a couple of soft metal brushes, so let's have a quick go at this. This is the water. It seems like it's not really coming off. Okay. Here's the isopropanol. No, it's not coming off. It's on there really strong. So if we just move these out of the way. Here I have a fairly blunt screwdriver. I'm just going to try and scratch this a bit. I'm not scratching as hard as I can. Okay, now I am, and I'm breaking the nylon. Okay, so the only way that I can get this paint off is to actually destroy the nylon. It seems. I had the chisel on standby, but I don't think we need it. We can see that is very strong, and this is not coming off. First, you need a 3D printer that can print nylon. I use a Bamboo Lab X1C, however there are cheaper options out there, so the cost is quite variable. Next, you'll need an Epson EcoTank printer or better. These start at about $200 US, and you can sell the ink that comes with it. Next, you'll need ASUB or Hypo Sublimation ink. This is about $30 US on Amazon. ASUB sublimation paper is about $20 US on Amazon. A4 copy paper is very cheap at your local supermarket. Some PTFE sheets, these are about $10 US from Amazon again. And finally, you'll need a good heat press and or hand press. Again, these are quite variable. If you want both, you can have them for about $400 US. You begin by converting the printer for sublimation. This may sound scary, but all you have to do is put the sublimation ink, which is a special type of ink used for this process, into your printer to convert it. After the ink is in and the printer has initialized, you usually need to print a few test pages for the ink to properly come through to the print head. You should note that as soon as you put the sublimation ink into the printer, you are violating your warranty, and that these printers need using weekly in moderately humid environments or more in drier ones to prevent the print head clogging. There are various settings that you need to apply to a printer to print well for sublimation. In the case of the ET1810, I needed to choose Epson matte paper, use standard quality mostly, and disable bidirectional printing. If you're using a different printer, these settings may be slightly different, so please do a little research. Once you have converted your printer and have it printing properly, you need two things. Firstly, a model to 3D print, and secondly, a design to print on sublimation paper. I started a print earlier of a sign for my postbox. Here it is, all done. I made the design to go on it also. Note that you will need to horizontal flip your work before you print it on your sublimation printer, otherwise when you press it, it will end up backwards on your 3D print. While the prints were printing, my press has been warming up. I have the Locklick or HDV Ront Auto Press here. We're going to be pressing this model at 210 degrees for 55 seconds. First, we tape the print to the model to stop it moving and ruining the work. I usually do this in a few places and just make sure it's nice and tight. I find alignment is one of the most difficult things, so please take some time and maybe use some guide marks to make sure that your design is aligned properly with your model. Underneath the work we have a piece of A4 copy paper and a PTFE sheet underneath that. We're also going to put another A4 copy paper on top and another PTFE sheet. Please use new A4 copy paper each time you do this process. Now we're ready, we'll just slide it into the press and press the start button. We will now also speed up time to make this video go a little bit quicker. Okay, now we are all done and we're going to do a hot peel. I'm not sure which is best for this, a cold or a hot peel, but this is what I've been doing. So we're going to remove the sublimation paper off the work while it is still hot. And there we go, it looks great. At this stage, it's your call if you want to put it under something flat and heavy rather than looking at it, just to make sure it keeps its shape. So there are a few negatives to this process. They are that you need to use nylon for a proper transfer or a thermoplastic with a higher heat resistance. You also need to use white for most things as the ink is actually translucent. You can cover whole surfaces with it with a little effort. The ink is also UV sensitive as it's a dye-based ink, not pigment-based, hence you may want to apply some kind of UV coating to items that will be UV exposed. Thin things are especially at high risk of deforming after pressing or even during 3D printing, so you may need to take action to prevent this. Finally, I hope to soon be posting some 3D printable sublimation blanks on Printables and MakerWorld that are pre-configured for this plastic. When I do, I'll be sure to update the links below. Thank you and please like and subscribe.